Hey guys, Scary Stories here. I hope you're doing well. Tonight, I thought it'd be fun to share with you a couple stories about creepy hotel rooms. A little getaway to a small bed and breakfast can be a really pleasant experience for most people. But I think these two stories tonight might make you question yourself next time you're driving alone at night and happen to spot a little B&B on the side of the road. But before we get into them, I just want to say, in case you're new to the channel, I post videos like this every Thursday and Sunday at 6 p.m. Eastern Time. I also try to sprinkle in shorts throughout the rest of the week, looking at ghost videos, ghost pictures, or just posting really tiny, short horror stories. I like to look through the archives of the internet to find old websites, forum posts, and news articles from the late 90s to early 2000s to share with you here. So, if you enjoy all things creepy, strange, or just slightly unsettling, maybe consider hitting that little red button down below. It really helps me out and I greatly appreciate it. I really love this little community we have going on, and I'd love to see it keep growing. But with that out of the way, let's get into the stories. I hope you enjoy. So this first one was posted on Unsolved Mysteries. No, not the TV show, just a random site. Back in 2011, and it's called Haunted Hotel Room 310. This is a true story of a haunted hotel room in Oregon. The hotel owners have really tried to hush up the story for fear that nobody will visit their establishment. But, in case you're looking for a spooky stay, the name of the place is the Oregon Caves Chateau. Back in 1988, a woman was driving back home to Washington from California. It was getting late into the evening, and snow had begun to fall before she finally reached the little Oregon town where she planned to spend the night. Tired and ready for a hot meal and a good night's sleep, she stopped at the first place she came upon. It was an old hotel on the main road. The lobby itself had a musty odor and a seedy clerk who signed her in for the night. Her room was to be on the third floor, room 310. An elderly bellhop helped her with her luggage. As soon as the door was opened, a blast of hot air struck the woman full in the face. With the hot air came something else, something she could not define, but it filled her with dread. It was heavy and depressing, she explained, with the strong scent of something pure evil. She felt as if she was about to faint. All she said was, "It's awfully hot in here." And that was enough for the bellhop to go over to the radiator and start tinkering with the knobs. He then opened the window and left. The room began to cool off, but the feeling of despair and dread just grew stronger. The woman could feel it coming from the window. The terror seemed to speak into her mind. She thought she could sense a voice whispering to her, compelling her to do something terrible. "Look out the window," it said. "Go to the window. Throw yourself out." She couldn't seem to resist the urge to jump out the window to what she knew would be her certain demise. She clawed at the bed sheets, trying to restrain herself from walking towards the open window. Terrified, the woman eventually summoned the strength and crawled out of the room. She rushed down to the lobby and shouted to the staff that she couldn't stay in there another minute. She explained, "I was sure that if I stayed the night, I'd be gone by the morning." She was prepared to sacrifice the money she'd already paid just to leave, but when she went, the clerk insisted that she take her money with her. He never asked what was wrong with the room, or if she would like to try a different one, just kept pushing the cash towards her and apologizing. She checked into another hotel and planned to be on her way out early the next morning. Instead, she decided to stay over another day in town and look into the history of the old hotel to see if she could discover any clues as to why she had that terrifying experience there. Her first stop was the local library to make a few inquiries. An elderly librarian sat behind the desk. "I'm just wondering," the woman said tentatively, "did anything shocking ever happen at that old hotel? The Oregon Caves Chateau?" The librarian looked at her strangely. "How did you come upon that bit of history?" she asked. It took the hotel a long time to squash that story, but the librarian went on to tell her what happened. One evening, back in 1948, a couple checked into the hotel as Mr. and Mrs. Oscar Smith. The next morning, hotel employees found the young woman's body lying on the sidewalk outside the hotel. The man who had registered as her husband had disappeared. At first it was ruled as a suicide, the librarian concluded. But then they pried open her fist and found it clutched with a handful of dark, curly hair, not her own. So, they made a search for the murderer, but he was never found. By the way, the librarian suddenly added, isn't that a coincidence? This all happened November 5th, 40 years ago, yesterday. Well, isn't that terrifying? An evil hotel room telling you to jump out the window. Maybe this next room will be a little bit more friendly. This one's called Creepy New York Hotel. My fiance and I, we'll call him Will for this story, stayed in upstate New York for a couple weeks for a mini getaway. One night, we had gotten back from dinner around 11 p.m. when Will decided that he wanted a soda. The hotel did not have any elevators, so we started the trek to the lower level vending machines. Once we got to the first floor, we started walking this long hallway, practically something out of The Shining, when I see this open hotel room door. While passing, my curiosity got the better of me, and I glanced inside. What I saw startled me. I saw an older woman standing in the middle of a dark room, pulling at her hair with her fists, with a huge smile on her face. I instantly started to have a mini panic attack. I looked to Will, and obviously he hadn't seen this deranged woman. Will says, "I think we're going the wrong way." We turn around and walk back by her room, but I don't look inside, not this time. We keep walking down this insanely long hallway, and when we're far enough away, I whisper, "Baby, there's something going on in one of those rooms. Something's not right." He stops walking to ask me about it, but that's when we see the sign for the vending machines. And guess what? They're back by that room. We turn once again to walk back down that hallway when we see an arm sticking out from that woman's room, just kind of waving around randomly. It's not waving hello exactly, but very slowly wobbling back and forth. And then her door slams shut, and we hear all the locks click. I start freaking out more and saying I don't want to go back that way. But Will says the room is next to the lobby, and an attendant is there, so if anything happens, we can just run to the desk. We walk back by that room and make it to the vending machines. It's in a little closet-type room, right off of the lobby. I start putting change into the machine, and of course I only have nickels and dimes, so it's taking me forever. All of a sudden, I get that feeling that someone's staring at me. I turn to the doorway, and that woman's standing there with this huge smile on her face, just staring at us. What really creeped me out is that we had to walk through 3 heavy doors to get to this room, which means she had to purposely, silently sneak through. Will and I just freeze and stare straight ahead, pretending we don't see her. I've stopped putting change into the machine at this point, and just look like a statue. And then she starts giggling. It's a high-pitched, eerie kind of giggle. Out of the corner of my eye, I can see her put her hands over her mouth. Honestly, I'm just so overwhelmed at this point, I start silently crying. I'm frozen in place, just listening to this old, crazy lady giggling like a 5-year-old while she stares at me. And then she just turns around and walks away. Will grabs his soda, and we book it out of there. We ran all the way back down the hall, up 4 flights of stairs, and into our room, all while looking over our shoulders the entire time. I propped a chair under the door, but that didn't help my nerves, and I couldn't sleep the entire night. Thankfully, we didn't see the woman the next morning. Oof. Well, what do you think of those? Do you enjoy staying in hotel rooms? I've stayed in quite a few, but thankfully I've never had to deal with any bizarre people doing weird stuff like that. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed the video. If you liked it, give it a thumbs up. Maybe comment down below. Tell me if you've had any creepy experiences in hotel rooms. Or maybe just say hi. But before we go, I just want to say one thing. I hope you're treating yourself well, and I hope you're treating yourself with love and respect. And hopefully I'll see you in the next one. Enjoy the rest of your night. Bye for now.